Alrighty all, welcome back to the channel. My name of course is Tommy, and on today's show it is going to be quite simple. I've been doing a lot of briskets lately, but I have not done a select brisket in a long time. Look, select is a below grade of choice. So basically you've got select, you've got choice, and then you've got your primes and wagyu. And of course we are all not privy to those wagyus and primes. So I wanted to show you step by step how you can get a select or choice brisket and make it come out like a masterpiece. I will have this whole cook broken down in the timeline so you guys could follow along. So what I want to do here is we are going to turn the clock back about 18 hours or so. Let's get our brisket out. We will do it up a backyard trim. We will get our salt based out on, and we will get it in the fridge to sit there unwrapped for about 15 hours or so. So this is a nice 18-pound select brisket. I think I paid a little over $50 for it. By the time we are done trimming it down, it'll probably be in that 15-pound range. So basically you want to get it out of the package. You want to get that meat dried off. You want to inspect the meat as you are doing it. And as you can see, I've got a big old top slash in mine, no big deal. And basically what I am going to start doing is I am going to take off some of that surface fat off the top of the brisket. Now usually I leave about a 1/4 inch or so, but for a select brisket I am going to leave a little bit more on than that. I want to protect the meat as much as possible, and this here is just a backyard trim, so you do not have to be perfect. Always go on the side of caution. Leave more fat than necessary rather than take too much off. And as I am taking that top coat of fat off, I am going to start to shape out the brisket. Fear not, all these scraps are going to go in a little tin that I got here on the bottom. We are going to make off some tallow. I will show you guys that as the cook goes along. Once you are happy with that top part of the brisket, you can flip it over as we are going to have some silver skin. You're going to want to get most of that silver skin off and also continue to shape the brisket. Once you are happy with all that, we are going to do a little quick salt brine on this. That is going to help in tenderizing the meat a little bit. Get yourself some kosher salt, and you want to get a nice dose on both sides. As this brisket is going to go sit in the fridge for 15 hours. You can go up to 2 days. But here on today's show, 15 hours is all I got, so that is going to be fine. Once we get this all cleaned up, all salted up, like I said, in the fridge she goes, and I will see you guys the next day. Alrighty guys, so look, because I am going to be waking up probably about 3 a.m. the next day, it is good practice to get your pit all ready to go. Now I am going to be using my brand new Masterbuilt XT. I am going to load up that hopper with center splits of oak, and then I will surround it with my Kingsford. Look, if you don't have a Masterbuilt XT, you could use any pit for this cook. It is all about that time and temp. Weber kettle, pellet grill, it is all good. So once I get my pit all ready to go, it is in the house to wait, and I will see you guys early in the AM, and we will start the cooking. So first off, I gotta say, I absolutely love these early morning cooks. It is about 3:30 a.m. and as you can see, it is pitch dark. It is nice and silent, and that is perfect for me. So basically what we are gonna do is we are gonna get that pit all fired up. We wanna bring that up to temp. I am gonna set my temperature to 225. I will adjust as need be. So look, keep in mind with these briskets, 18 pounds, you are gonna be in the pit anywhere from 10 to 15 hours. You just never know. That is why you always cook into temp. So once we get our pit all fired up, we will get on in the house. We will get our brisket out of the fridge. Remember, she sat in there for about 15 hours or so, and on the stove she goes. And keep in mind, we did not put no black pepper on it. We only salted it up, so you are gonna need your 16 mesh black pepper. And also you got a quick glimpse of that tallow. We've got that in the tin. We've took some of the best fat, a little bit of meat, we've put it in the tin. That is gonna go in the pit for about 4 to 6 hours. You will see that as the cook goes along. Other than that, it is pepper on the top. We will then make our way outside. And the first thing we are gonna do once we get out there is flip that brisket, because we've gotta get some pepper on the back end. And I gotta tell you, I am absolutely jacked up for this cook. We are gonna monitor the whole cook with my ChefsTemp wireless, and that is gonna get us started. I will get that probe right in the thickest part of the brisket. That is gonna be your point. Once everything looks good, everything is ready to go, the temp is up the pit, we will get the brisket on. Now, I always like to do my briskets middle shelf if you can. Underneath that, I will stick that brisket fat to make up that tallow. And basically from here, it is easy peasy. We are gonna let the brisket run at 225 for 3 hours with no peaks. So we are gonna go for that first 3 hours without even looking, anywhere between 225 or 250, it really doesn't matter. On that hour 3 mark, you're gonna get yourself a 50-50 spritz of some apple cider vinegar and water. We are gonna spritz it at hour 3, hour 4, and of course hour 5. Actually, we are gonna spritz it every hour on the hour right up to the stall. If you've got any pooling on top of the brisket, you are gonna wanna remove that just with a little bit of paper towel. Once we get to that stall or hour 7, I will bring you guys back. Alrighty, so we are coming right up to that hour number 7, and we are still not in the stall yet, but we are definitely getting close. At this time, what I want to do is I'm going to get that tallow off. I've got myself a pot here on the board. I will strain that tallow into that pot, and look at the color of that tallow. That is like liquid gold right there. That packs a lot of smoky flavor. That'll go in the house on the stove to rest. I will give the brisket another little bit of spritz, and I will bring you guys back at the stall, which will probably be in another hour or so. So we are coming up on that 8-hour mark, and I would say we are definitely at the top end of the stall. Usually I would pull it out sooner, somewhere around that 6-hour mark, but I wanted to build a better bark, so I left it in longer. At this point, the bark is what the bark is, and as you could see, we are about 170 or so in the point, and that flat is looking good at that 180 mark or so. It is time to get this brisket off. I've got a nice sheet of butcher paper down. We will get the brisket off. We will get it on the butcher paper. Now you are going to want to grab your spritz and wet that paper down a little bit. That is going to help it to be more pliable. And before we go ahead and wrap it, grab that beef tallow. We are going to get a quarter ladle or 2 on there and just pour it right over the brisket. Let it sink in, man. That is flavor, I am telling you. At that point, we are going to wrap that brisket up. You want to make sure you get a nice tight wrap. You will see in a bit, I stuck some foil off camera underneath as we were losing a little bit of moisture out of the wrapping. I can hear it dripping on and hitting the bottom of the pit. So we put some foil in there because you're going to want all that tallow, all that juices to stay inside that wrapping. And basically, after you get it all wrapped up, you are going to get your ChefsTemp and get it into the same spot where you pulled it out. A little pro tip here, if you pulled it out at 170, when you put it back in, you should be close to that 170 mark. Don't miss your spot, put it back in and show 160, because you at that point are going to be off 10 degrees. So we are looking good. Back on the pit she goes. So look, to blow through that stall, I am going to start bumping the pit temp up. We ran most of the cook at that 225 to 250 or so. At this point, I am going to start bumping it up to 275. That is going to push you through the stall. You'll blow right through it. And once we hit that toothpick tender temperature, I will bring you guys back and we will get that brisket off. 8 hours to the stall, 2 hours wrap. This one's going to come in right at that 10-hour mark. I mean, you just could never tell. It is different every brisket that you do. And there you could see that foil that I draped underneath my wrappings. That is going to hold any juices in there. We will get the brisket off. We will get it here on the board. I've got a towel down. I will bundle that up like a little baby brisket, and I will get it in a cooler. It is going to stay there for 2 hours. Now you can go anywhere between 2 hours and 6 hours. The longer the better, but I've got dinner in the house coming, so it is going to be 2 hours for me. After that 2-hour mark, I will bring you guys back. We will slice it open, do that taste test, talk about it, and close out the show. Alrighty guys, and here we go. We've got that 2-hour rest over. We will get it out of the cooler. We will get it on the board. And look, I am going to go in right through the top. I will cut through that paper and pick it up. And again, that is not the best bark I've ever had. I knew that going in. I tried to develop it better, but at this point it is what it is. So we will get it right here on the board. I will trace that seam where the flat meets the point, and I will cut it directly right down the middle. And boy, the brisket smell is in the air. There is no doubt about it. And she is plenty juicy. And that outer smoke ring will develop a little bit more as she sits here on the board. But I am definitely digging what I see. Remember, this is a select brisket, and I only paid about 50 bucks or so. And I would say 100% we nailed it. As the juice is definitely flowing, what I am going to do here is let's cut a few slices. Let's check that out. Let's let that camera run, and then I will bring you guys back for a little bit of live taste test. We will talk about it, and we will close out the show. Alrighty, also that is how you take a good old cheap piece of select brisket. I think I paid about $55 for this. And I do believe it was around 18 pounds or so. After we trim that fat off, probably looking at about maybe 15, 16 pounds. And I have to tell you, it is absolutely amazing. There is no doubt about it. I mean, it is juicy as juicy can be. That is a help of wrapping the brisket, and also that beef tallow definitely helps. We took every part of the brisket and turned it into something with that tallow. And we also had precise temperature control, and that is very important. I had all three of my ChefsTemp doing duty on that one, as I had my wired. Of course, I had my wired, and definitely had my hand held in there to make sure we knew exactly what the brisket was doing. Let's go on in. Let's get that taste test. You know, that looks absolutely incredible. I'm absolutely thrilled on how this whole cook came out. It has been a while since I have done a select, so I just wanted to prove with the proper steps. You don't have to go prime if you can't afford prime, or you can't find prime. Select, which is below choice, and choice is perfectly fine. And now we cannot forget the chef, and cheers. So look, that is absolutely 100% money. I mean, the smoke flavor in it is just about perfect. The juiciness is right there. So look, that is going to end this show. Again, I appreciate all you guys for watching. I appreciate ChefsTemp for allowing me to come over here and cook for them. Again, my name is Tommy. I appreciate you all. And until next time, we will see you soon.